Bad kid stories. That is the most real thing I have ever experienced in my life. I got fired from working at Red Robin.
Oh, every time
for doing that. When do we get to bury him in a thing and jerk off on him, though? I say I can take on 3 11-year-olds. And he clicks the button and he's just woman cussing him the fuck out. This is the weirdest theory I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, in a lot of ways, Big Boy's never left. Anti-pedophile. I agree. He will tell you I'm a bad driver, but there's no evidence for that. I'm intuition and I'm deep, and then you are absolute monsters on a regular basis.
Well, hello, guys. Welcome to the Two Hippies, One Drunk podcast. I'm your host this week, Tyler Charles. As always, joining me will be Scott Ryan.
Right here.
And Eric Fady.
Hello.
This podcast runs a little bit differently, as in we switch hosting roles each week. And each one of us picks a topic and we kind of run with it. Before I get into our topic this week, I also want to say again, thank you for everybody commenting and viewing this podcast every week and sticking with us. All the downloads, everything's been really, really like overwhelmingly good. And I just want to say thank you to all the people that have reached out to us.
No, seriously, it's honestly, he says that. And I think people, if you've never really put if not to like down talk to people, but if you've never really tried to do a podcast, if anyone has tried to do something like this, it is much harder than it looks. It is not as easy just to go viral as some people think it is. And from someone who's been on a very successful podcast, I would say only, but in the same hand, 4 months into this thing, it's exceeded my expectations. So thank you guys if you're listening to this right now.
What is this weird decoration you put up in front of
I have no idea why I decided to do this.
It has nothing to do with the subject matter.
Nothing. Well, so I'm fucking, you guys, I don't know. We've hung out a decent amount of times, but I don't know that we've ever hung out in this since like 4 or 5 days in a row, other than one festival, and that could change at some point coming up, maybe. But but I'm just so stupid and I fidget with things. And so this week I did some post about, I've seen the iPhone that they keep advertising that it's going to be purple now, and I decided that purple's gone too mainstream, even though it's my favorite color. So I made this post this week, and then I took a picture of all the purple things I have, and this was just sitting here.
Your room's
so as he was
purple.
talking, I decided to just move it over and put it.
So you put it up as a
protest
against purple.
Well, I was like, it's kind of. I always find it. I'm a hipster, I think, but but I'm not one of those hipsters that like. I always find it funny when people get like in bands or something. They're like,
I just feel like
it got
the
too popular.
eye is gonna think you're into purple.
Oh, it's my favorite color by far.
I mean, light it on fire.
Yeah, that's a good protest.
I mean, literally,
get
dude.
A big ball of purple, and
you can't even see. Everything I have is purple. My room back here is purple. I was just it was a dumb joke.
I mean, so your phone's red.
Yeah, I was just.
Well, okay, my cover is my cover is purple.
My phone's red too.
My cover is purple.
Welcome
Anyway,
to phone cast.
That's what it is.
But
that's what this is.
Okay, how about we actually get to the subject matter? I want to get to this. So we are talking today about a beloved, probably my favorite reality show I've ever watched. It just really hit home with me, Kid Nation, which is a 2007 reality show hosted by, what's his name? Joshua. It's Joshua.
I've never seen that man on
Joshua
another...
like Chase or something.
Yeah, have you ever seen him on anything else?
No, I think he was a host in something else, and he recently was involved with the documentary about like Bush's letters or something. Bush's
like recently?
Yes.
Holy that guy?
Recently. Yes, that guy.
Which, by the way,
the host of the show.
You mentioned that, by the way, and I know we're not even into it yet. But I gotta say, when you mentioned Bush, I had not watched this show, and I watched a lot of reality television back in the day. For some reason, this didn't get on my radar. I don't know how, having seen it, watching 4 episodes of it now.
It's insane.
But that was a shockingly large amount of 8 to 10-year-olds making references to President Bush.
Yeah. Mainly one, Taylor. Mainly the one.
But there was others, though. There was others that like referenced the presidency. Wasn't there?
There's one or two others that reference the presidency. Taylor in specific is really
she's several times throughout the
okay
the show.
maybe I got confused.
She thinks that it makes her sound smart, but she's freaking 10. One thing I want to start out with this thing. I know we're going to get into each of the episodes because we're going to try to cover 4 of the episodes this
which I suspect we won't, but
but hey, I suspect we won't. But I want to start out with the contract that the parents had to sign for these children to be on this show. Like, it seems like a good setup for everything else.
Right.
So this is what the contract reads. All right. I understand that the program, like you as the person signing it, I understand that the program may take place in inherently dangerous travel areas that may expose they may be exposed. Wait, what? I messed that up. Dangerous travel areas that may expose the minor and other participants to a variety of unmarked, uncontrollable hazards and conditions that may cause the minor serious bodily harm, injury, illness, death, including without limitations, general exposure to extreme heat or cold water, hazardous cliffs, and rock avalanches. Encounters with wild or domestic animals or acts of God.
By the way,
e.g. earthquakes.
As opposed to the safe cliffs, hazardous cliffs. Well, good thing
I'll stop there. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's funny. I've always been a really big fan of. I think I've mentioned this before, but I love behind the scenes reality shit because it's so weird and so secretive and so predatory. This is a very standard reality show
but it's for your kid. That's my thing. Is like you're essentially signing away the life of your child.
I would say I
to these people, which has a ton of risk that they're stating. It's not even like, when you go on a normal show, it's like, you run the risk of something on the set falling or something like that. It's like, no, you're putting these kids in the desert. There's fucking snakes and animals and other things that could hurt and harm them, and you kind of have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, there is some of that.
In the words of Taylor, just deal with it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's definitely scenes in the show that we definitely
we'll get into that apply to this
that apply to that.
And then the second half of the contract says, I understand that if the minor chooses to enter into an intimate relationship with another participant or any other persons hereby assumed any and all risks that may be associated with any relationship, including the limitations, emotional distress, illness, sexual transmitted disease, HIV, and pregnancy.
I mean, okay, that is insane. Yeah. I will also say this is boilerplate reality stuff.
Yeah.
This is absolutely
no, because you're taking that responsibility on for yourself. They're essentially saying your kid gets pregnant, you have to deal with that, and that's not our responsibility, even though they're setting up this situation and not stopping it. Because if anything, they're probably encouraging it.
Yeah, I mean, there's cameras all over that place. There's producers all over that place. If any of those kids are fucking, it is with the consent of the producers.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly, encouraging it. So that's the contract the parents have to sign. They all signed it.
I would say board. In the defense, like Scott kind of, and I'm not trying to, dude, I fucking hate some of that shit, but and of course it sounds shady, but in Scott, I was saying it's kind of normal. I know you're saying that it's kids. I guess if you were a parent, you have to assume, by the way, if you're a parent, if you're a normal parent, even though you would not even put your kid in this situation in reality, but let's say you are, you do know that there are, they're not just sitting. There are other adult, there's cameramen everywhere, and there's producers.
Yeah, there's pretty much 200 adults on this little compound at all times, and there's 40 kids.
Okay,
go.
I was just gonna say none of us are parents, so it's hard to say. But
and you got to think these kids are all acting kids. These kids want to be actors. That's what they think they're getting into. None of the kids. Also pretty none of the kids knew what the fuck was going on when they were on the bus. They didn't understand what it was essentially pitched them as summer camp where they get to take on character roles and act.
Okay. Yeah. Because so they didn't really tell them the nature of the reality.
Nobody knew when they were on the bus. I listened to an interview with one of the kids, Greg, and he was like, "Yeah, none of us had any idea what was going on until we got to the town."
That's also
That's
very
so
typical
wild.
reality show stuff.
It is,
to be
but
honest.
when you think about being but it is. But when you're an 18-year-old dude or trying to be on like you're applying for all these like real world and things like that, you'd have like being like a 9-year-old kid and you just get on this bus. And
The youngest is 8. The youngest is 8 years old, and he has no idea what's going on. But, all right, Liz, what were you?
Well, I was just gonna ask. This was my original question. I was gonna ask. You have a kid. They're 12 years old. They get a chance to be on this. You letting them go or no?
I read that contract. No. If I read the fine print, no.
I guess
I know I would have wanted to go.
I don't know,
12.
like a reality show, not so much, because if it's like one of the kids I listened to interview as an adult, they said that their parents were worried because they're going to be on a reality show, and at that time it was like Rock of Love and like Flavor Flav and like all that making these people look like jackasses through editing, and they didn't want their daughter to have to be pinholed into this thing where like they're a bad person.
Taylor's parents must feel like like they were right.
They were happy about it.
You know what though? I legitimately love Taylor.
Yeah,
like that's my thing.
You love her for the drama, but she is for the rest of her life pegged as a little brat.
Okay.
No one knows who these people are. I would say in this one, I don't think in this one anyone knows who these people are.
I mean, it got lucky that it was not a very popular reality show and that it had to shut down after one season for a variety of reasons. But like my thing is, I don't know. Like we both watch a lot of reality shows. I know you haven't seen all of this, Eric. Tyler and I both have seen this show multiple times. So I'm familiar with it. I would say they do less to make kids look bad than probably about any other reality show I've ever
but you
seen.
kind of have to.
It was really Taylor probably looks the worst. And to be honest, she is 10 years old and she's kind of dunking on these kids and owning them a lot of the time.
She really does put it to them. She really gives it to her. Deal with it thing is even a clever little like she came up with a catchphrase on her own. Because that was another thing that I learned through research is that like I wondered if some of it was scripted and they addressed that. No, none of it was scripted. They prompt them with questions. They'd ask them stuff, but they would never be like, say this line or say these words or whatever. They just ask them questions until they respond.
Okay, Eric, as somebody who has watched a lot of reality shows too, the scripted ones, I would say I can absolutely tell. Like, I wouldn't have had to have known that because there's like,
there's some of it because they're kids. Deal with it seems like, here, say this, Taylor.
Nah, you can tell.
No,
if you ever seen those
scripted
MTV shows.
Yeah.
So obvious.
Yeah. Yes, that's accurate.
Yeah, you're right. That even though
some of it, because they did incentivize the kids to do certain things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they always do. They incentivized them. They asked leading questions for sure.
Yeah.
I will say the thing I've hated so far the most, and granted, I understand it's a reality show. I understand they're trying to do things that are going to create separation and, anxiety and drama. But like, I didn't like how when they said this idea of like, they have these council that they're picked and we don't know how they're picked. Just 4 people are decided to be council that is kind of leading the group here. And he tells them about going into this church and reading this sacred text, these ancient texts to help you kind of guide. And my point would be is like,
it's the producers.
Well, obviously, but it's like, because as if this old mining town, we separated our people into 4 people and gave them colors. But the point was like, I didn't even like, they read it as like it was just such a suggestion, and that one was the most where it was like it was very obvious they were never not going to do that.
Yeah, they have to do what's in the book,
right? And they didn't say that. They made it sound like this book was a guide, and I know that's dumb. I'm getting a little nitpicky, but I wish he would have just said, "Hey, you guys are the council. Here's this book. This is how you have to kind of go through." It's going to tell you how to go through. And to get into that,
this book that they have essentially sets up the theme for the episode.
Right.
Like each episode has a theme that like these kids are going to this town to try to make a little town and work it and do the things you have to. And so they, in each episode, the leaders, which is another thing that I think is insane that they described in some of the interviews that were like how weird it was that like they had the leaders come in a helicopter. It made the kids who were in the helicopter feel weird because they're like, I'm not important, but this feels like I'm supposed to step up or whatever. And then the other kids felt like, we have to like respect these kids. And then immediately after that, that's why Greg got so mad at Mike when they were taking all that shit, because he wasn't helping. He was acting like the leader, and that whole helicopter thing, all the kids kind of resented them for getting a helicopter when they had a 2.5-hour bus ride.
I mean, that's a brilliant reality show producer.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
exactly how you do a social experiment.
Yes,
for
but
sure.
I'm just saying to these kids, yes, you should not be doing that to these children.
But see, here's the problem, Tyler. If we're gonna talk, and because we're gonna do a few episodes on this, you almost have to accept now in this, and if we're going to talk about this on a show, you have to accept that it is what it is. That's their kids, but this is a show, and we have to talk about it like that, because the reality is that's exactly how you would do a reality
that is
show.
True. That
you
is
cannot
true. That's
have
what you do. But the problem is that you're doing it with very young kids. To me, it's like that still needs to be addressed at every turn. That's the reason it got canceled.
No, the reason it got canceled is because one of the kids almost drank bleach, and because several of the parents sued.
Yeah, another girl got like 3rd-degree burns.
Sure. Okay, and that's one thing I will say. You actually pointed it out, Tyler, when we were rewatching this. But like, I had never noticed in the times I had watched it before, these kids do like get increasingly more disheveled. They get bruises, they get cuts. All of a sudden, they're talking and there's just like a bump on their cheek.
Yeah, or just like dirt on their cheek. Like they look like hobos. Like they haven't showered. One thing that they said is for the first 3 days, before they had the challenge, nobody got showers. Like they didn't have showers for them. And all the producers and everybody, I want to talk about it because this is the first episode. We're discussing the first episode. And one of the biggest issues, it starts out, they get to the town, they're settling in.
Why are they 2 miles away, by the way? Look, I know it's fucking...
They're in the middle of New Mexico, and they're like, you think that they're, going to essentially a camp. They get there, it's like a refugee camp. Like they have tiny little mats. None of them got pillows. I didn't know about this. That they all had to use their clothes as pillows, because they didn't supply them with any. They gave them a mat.
Oh my god.
They didn't have any insulation inside the places. So like it's New Mexico. So when it gets cold, they were saying they had to wear their entire clothing and coats to go to bed.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
No pun intended.
Yeah. It is such a weird thing because it does make it different that it's kids, but I've seen enough stuff on reality shows. I know how typical this stuff is. I wondered, like, I don't know, did you hear anything about how much sleep they were allowed to get? Because most reality shows,
they were allowed to sleep. They got pretty much 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours.
But that's about to be.
That's why they instilled the curfew at some point in the book, because they were like, we can't have these kids like staying.
I mean, that is more merciful than pretty much every other reality show in existence.
Yeah,
most
but these
reality
kids
shows you get 2 or 3 hours.
Children have to sleep a lot. Like you can't just fucking.
People have
the
to
kids
sleep.
need to sleep.
If you're an adult, knowing you're going into a reality, these kids, it's not a choice. Their parents are pushing them into this thing. If you're an adult, you know what's coming. You know that's a part of it. That's like an angle of what's going to happen. You're a child. You shouldn't be put in that situation.
Where it's only 40 days.
Isn't that a form of torture? Like keeping someone up for days and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, it by the Geneva Conventions, refusing people sleep is torture.
Yeah.
Well, they've signed a contract, though. I mean, usually people that are in a prisoner of war situation didn't sign a TV contract saying they know what they're doing.
And to be fair, the kids could leave at any time.
Yeah,
that is built into the show.
Now, you say that. Jimmy, the kid who left the first episode, said he wanted to leave the first day, but it was pretty much, he was like, I'd have to beg them to like let me leave and like cry and beg. I said to them several times, I want to go home. But it was pretty much mandatory to stay for the first 4 days.
You know what's weird about that, though?
I could believe that.
Yep.
You know what's weird about that, though? And look, dude, I can't get into little Jimmy's head. I know he's an 8-year-old kid. I know. I get it. I do get it. But man, like when he did that, I mean, I gotta be honest. I was like, dude, every fucking kid on there was like, come on, they like liked him. They're calling him cool.
That kid was preaching truth. I'm too young to be here. This is not okay.
Rub some salt on it. Fucking.
He's 8. And these conditions are horrid. He was described, because I watched an interview with him and he was like, it was awful. I hated every single day. It was freezing. It was like they had no protection against the wind. They had one porta potty for 40 children. And everybody, all the adults had their own bathrooms. And like, he was like, for 4 days, I did not poop because I went in there one time and it was above the toilet seat. He's like, that poop is going inside me. So I just didn't poop for 4 days.
Well, you could go out and squat, dude. Like,
yeah.
Humans have been
that's what I would
squatting
do too. I would just go outside. But they also said that they were peeing everywhere. Like all the boys were just peeing all over the place.
Of course
so this town smelled like piss.
That's what I would do
all the time.
Yeah, as an adult. I mean,
right.
And dude, just to clarify, the bleach thing Scott was talking about, that also is like, it's not as crazy as a kid just grabbing bleach and drinking it. It essentially was the dishes were getting too dirty at night.
Because of Taylor.
They were worried. The producers were worried about the kids getting sick because they weren't actually cleaning the dishes.
Yeah.
So at night, they would bleach all of the stuff and then clean it. And a few of the glasses didn't completely get cleaned out. Some of the kids put soda in those glasses and mixed with the bleach. They drank that and like 3 kids got sick.
Oh, they actually did drink it.
Yes, and went to the hospital, like, and then came back, like they were puking.
Well, again, see,
like Scott crazy hurt, but they definitely went to the hospital.
Scott sitting here standing up for Taylor. Fucking Team Yellow would just clean the goddamn dishes. So it's really not even.
Their fault. Let's get into these.
Let's start. Team Yellow are actual babies.
Yeah,
I mean that's the thing.
Like little kids.
They're like age like. The ages go from like 8 to 15 altogether, right? But like Yellow team is like mostly 9 or 10-year-olds.
Yeah. Dude, 200 years ago in the fucking revolutionary times, dude, people died at 30. So 10 and 15, they were fucking married off by 15.
Okay,
so come on.
I just want to go over like the bullet points of what happens each episode, and this one is covering essentially the entry into everybody kind of needs to pay it or like understand that the leaders matter and that they're going to be split up into different districts. During this episode, once they get split up, okay, they have their food. It's terrible. They also described that the kids were like, that shit was unbearable. Like it was
of course,
disgusting.
you have small children cooking your food. and then so they split up. This is another crazy thing because in the first episode, the blue team, which has Greg and Blaine on it. It's like the old kids, the oldest kids. Right. Most of the old
Greg
kids
straight said, yes, the producers told them to tag all the other buildings.
I believe
it. They straight were like, hey, just here's some chalk. Go tag blue rocks or whatever.
Right.
The other people's thing, which is also just, I mean, you're right. That is absolutely something that a producer, it just seems like that's really mean to these little kids.
I said it when we watched it. I was like, they definitely told them to do that.
Yeah. I just didn't know for sure, and he confirmed.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, before you get to the other kind of bullet points here, I have to say a funny thing. Being a reality TV show fan again, like another funny thing that I've thought about already while watching this is you keep mentioning how there's 40 kids, for example. So you got to think about this. You know, even as you can say like, oh, it's mean in this, we know for a fact that we don't. I guess I don't know it for a fact, but I can assume I would imagine like 98% truth. That there was probably hundreds of kids, right, that were auditioned for this, right?
Yep.
Sure.
So it's just such a funny thing to me when you think about reality television. So there was hundreds of kids.
Yeah.
That means they pick people for sure based on, personality, like this, that, reasons they want kids to be in the show, right?
You into this thing. Yeah.
And so out of 40 kids, though, if you really watch the show, how many do you really talk about? 5,
they get into 10? Most of them.
Okay.
Over the whole show, I would say they get into more than half.
Yeah, I'd say 20 to 30.
But still, like in my end, though,
there's definitely kids you don't know about.
Then the first 4 episodes, I've had a few scenes where even I look in the background, I'm like, who's that fucking kid?
Yeah,
like, I don't even know.
Me and Scott were doing the same thing. Like, why aren't you covering him? Maybe they weren't big enough personalities. But
that's my point. Many. It's just interesting to me that like you even out of a hand-picked 40, of which was probably hundreds, it's just so funny with these shows how
even out of that pool, there's
out
still
of that pool,
a pool within of that.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. You have the stars, the people who are going to stand out. Which one of them is Greg. Greg is 15 years old. He is the oldest kid here. He is very aggressive. And I'm not a fan of how money grubby he is.
I love Greg.
I think that he is a money grubby little little piece of shit. I'm not.
I think Tyler. I think sometimes I think that I'm not saying this is a fault, but when you're looking at stuff like this, I think you really look at things often because you're a 30-year-old dude who's now had decent life experience.
Yep,
man. If we at our 15, we did bad kid stories, dude. I heard some things you guys were at 15. If you were put in this situation,
I was never mean to kids that were younger than me. That's my thing. It's like he's a bully.
But you're in a reality television show. You're going to have producers in your ear telling you stuff. You already, and so, there's just so much. I'm not giving him an out, but I'm just saying, like,
Greg's a bully outside of that.
Oh, I don't like him, but I'm just.
That.
I get it. I don't like him. Well, just was Greg the one, by the way, and this is where like producers pick people based on stuff. Look, was he the one? He's like, when they're trying to decide on the chickens, and he's like, "Oh, I've been working at a." Dude, that's one of those things where for a fact they wanted at least one person that would actually know how to do that. So if these kids decided to kill the animals, at least someone could.
That is another insane thing that they have on this. So like pretty much like really the first episode. I mean, we don't even have to get into that. It's like specifics and stuff. Like more like they have that first episode that represents the beginning, and they have their little challenge. They have another thing that's pretty messed up in my opinion, that they have the class system. They have the laborers, the cooks, the merchants, and the upper class. And they like put them in the situation where they get paid more depending on how they do in the challenge or whatever.
Right. Which, by the way, the yellow within the context of the show.
Yeah. So because they can get candy at the store or whatever, and they can get a drink.
I have another question. Did I miss, by the way, were they told at some point? So they have, when you're describing this, if people haven't seen it, it's like, a typical reality show. And in one episode, every episode, they do a challenge and there's rewards. And getting into what Tyler was just describing as like the different teams divide into different classes, get more or less money. But were they ever told at one point they couldn't help others once they were done? Because, dude, every challenge, if it's done in a certain time, the whole group gets a reward.
Yes, and I do not understand. The other group has to do it on their own. They have to just finish it. That was
okay. Well, that makes me at least feel better in the sense I'm like, dude, these kids, are they stupid? If you don't finish,
chilling there, like watching them.
Dude, help out. You'll all get a reward.
Yeah. At least like yell out stuff. Like I've thought that before. If they know information, like yell it to the other team.
Okay, and you said this before too, but like I don't think the class system makes perfect sense. You're doing a reality show about setting up a society, and you're doing a competitive reality show. They always do that.
Yes, but it seems like it's instilled capital in this show that it doesn't really need to be going that angle.
Not capitalism, maybe hierarchy.
I'd say capitalism. I'd say that. More or less.
I would say like you need that hierarchy for the show to make any sense. Because if you
I agree with
what
that.
Happened? Because what would have happened if they didn't do that? Who would have decided to start doing
right. It's just the way they went about it felt kind of seedy to me.
See,
I don't know. It just seems weird.
The seediest thing to me out of all of this so
just
far.
Say you're the winner. You're first, third, second.
It's a competitive reality show.
Yeah, but that's what you do. That's what you say. You're first, second, third.
But the theme is we're building a nation.
Yeah, and you're in this little... I just have an issue with it. I don't know. I don't like it. It's instilling this bullshit mentality with children, and I'm not a fan.
I get it. I get that. can I say what my biggest thing is? My biggest, if I were to say, is like, dude, the saloon. What is this deal?
No, straight up. Why are they encouraging the kids to legit take shots and stuff?
And they're doing shots of
shot glasses. You don't need shot glasses. You could just have normal cups, maybe children cups with little designs on them and stuff.
And dude, they 100% do a scene where it's like they make it look like that. They make it look like in the day
the kid is like having a bad day and he needs a drink.
Right, they're going into the saloon.
Okay,
because his friend left.
I mean, I gotta say the same thing, the same general thing I was saying to Tyler to you. We're doing a show about an old west town.
No,
you know what?
I get it.
We can sit here we can sit here and critique all of society if you want and all of that or whatever. Fact is, you can go to the gas station and buy candy cigarettes.
I know.
It's also terrible. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying this as well is really bad.
This one just seemed.
I'm saying
the way that they have the shots, they call them shots. These kids are drinking on a hard day.
It's hilarious. It's good TV.
It is good TV, but it's just terrible that they
Scott,
put them
to
in
me,
that situation.
I'm a heartless person. I don't really give a fuck personally about, what messing these kids. Whatever. I don't give a shit about that either. And it is good TV. It was just more to me though. I was like, even I as a kid, like it just was weird how serious it is like, wow, this scene is literally like they're in a Friday night at the saloon, like girls were dancing and stuff.
No, absolutely. On the bar, on the tables.
It was just more of that for me. Like I was just like, holy,
who essentially was like not prostituting, but like busking, like and using her dance moves to get that
smart.
money. No, it is smart. Sophia's amazing, but like I still thought that was even like, why are you encouraging that? Like, why is she got to
that's like the healthiest thing that was done.
Dance to get money?
Yeah,
she danced to get that money.
Because she was doing it in a fun way, and she just wanted to make it fun.
I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that they encourage that kind of behavior. It's like,
well, that was the famous thing, I would argue.
Yeah, I'm just lumping it in with all the other bullshit, all right?
I would say if you were actually making a ranking of the things you've talked about and how messed up they are, I would actually agree that I feel like Sophia dancing for money was the shadiest thing, because first of all, you can tell it's totally set up by the producers. And second of all, like it is not, I will give them credit, it is not sexualized whatsoever.
No.
But it's still
like dancing for money.
I don't know. That was the thing I thought was the least. I thought it was.
I don't think any of them are that big of a deal, to be honest. I don't think any of the stuff.
Yeah, at least she didn't set up like a kissing booth or something.
Yeah,
like that would have been way worse. Okay, and then at the end of the episodes, they introduce this like this $20,000 star. They always give somebody the opportunity to leave.
Right.
And in the first episode, Jimmy, who is 8 years old, they were saying this too. That it's hilarious that the host never gets down on the kid's level. Like he's always towering over them and just like, hey, little kid, like, what are you doing down there kind of situation. And like he scared the kids. Jimmy said that like, I never knew his name. And two, like he just scared the shit out of me in that last episode. Like when he looked down at me and was like, so you're going to stay or leave?
I guess I didn't get that. I mean, I can't. That's his impression. He was on the show.
So a lot of them said, yeah, he was weird. Okay. They would make fun of him because he would do a ton of takes and keep asking for takes. And all the kids would start making fun of him because of it, which is pretty hilarious. Yeah.
I mean, like reality show hosts they've all got that like Ryan Seacrest vibe to them.
Yeah,
they're very vain.
Yep.
And they're very
yeah, absolutely. They all said that. All the interviews that I listened to, they were just like,
well, it's a weird
he
role,
was just
though,
kind
dude.
of, we made fun of him.
It's a weird role to be a reality television host because you're not the star, but you're like kind of running the world. I know, but just in general as a reality show host, like when you mentioned, like, dude, it's just a weird thing because you're not the star, but you are controlling the world. And yet you're kind of the face of it, but you're not.
Yeah.
It's a weird position, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy leaves, and then which is also another thing Jimmy said he was kind of pissed about because he didn't know that the star was a thing. And 3 days after he left, he found out that the star was a thing and was like, why didn't they tell me that? I would have, it would have given me incentive to stay.
Okay, you know what? I don't mind some of this bullshit.
Not $20,000.
I don't care. I don't mind some of this bullshit.
Given me incentive to stay at 8.
If he was scared, all that, no, fuck you, Jimmy. If he can have some. I'm sorry, he can have some shit. I get it. He was scared of the dude, the shitting in the porta potty. He's 8 years old. I'll give him a lot of slack on, but don't say I'm 8. I hated every single second, but he would have stayed for some gold star that he might not have won was on the line.
Okay, can we talk about this gold star? I really feel like too. Like we were talking about this, they're giving them. It's kind of bullshit because if it's $20,000 worth of gold, I get that.
Do you think they give? That's what I was wondering. Do you think those things are real gold, or do you think they give them a check?
They're real gold.
Hoping they just give them a check.
No,
that's what I was thinking.
No way.
But I didn't find anything about it.
No way. They're real gold. I'm saying like.
So they're going to make you go to a We Buy Gold place and get like a tenth of whatever it was.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. You're not walking away with $20,000. You're walking away whatever you can pawn that
15,
gold.
10, maybe.
Yeah. That's fucking.
I don't know We Buy Gold rates.
Yeah.
I feel like. And they're probably exaggerating the worth of it.
I also think it's hilarious that when you get who gets the first episode, who gets it? I'm trying to remember. Sophia gets it the first time. And I was thinking about this too, the way they shoot it. You know that those kids are like, they get a phone call to their mom or their parents. And after that too, if you win the gold star, you get to talk to your parents, which is also like, shouldn't they just have that option? Shouldn't they be able to talk to their parents from now and again? Do you have a phone? When you go to camp, you get to talk to your parents.
But this is once again, though, standard reality show.
For adults.
You don't get a phone.
For adults. For adults. You do not get to do this to children. That's standard for a grown-ass person who signed a waiver. If your parents
signed their waiver.
Yes, but that means that they don't get that. It's bullshit. Whatever. Nonetheless, the way that they do that, you know that they just want to talk to their parents. And every time they'll always bring up that star, and it kind of feels a little forced, where they're like, no, you have to mention the thing.
Yeah.
Like, or whatever.
Well, of course,
because they want them to say it.
Of course.
But they
I know, it just feels like this influence that you can feel even when I don't know that that's happening.
It is always funny to me, though, with reality shows. Again, this is the obvious, just reality show shit. But think about this. That means in reality, God, I hate saying in reality because we're talking about reality shows. But
yeah,
it what happened here is that means that this kid in the council, whatever, gets her star or his star.
Yep.
And that means then they have to telegram, call back, get a hold of the parents, run a camera crew out to wherever these people are, then get like a camera on them. And then so even when they say you can go call your mom, the fact is that probably happened 3 hours later, a day later.
Sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's kind of hilarious.
Or they
already know. Yeah, they already know who's going to get the star.
Yeah, because they'll probably just talk to the kids and be like, who are you going to pick? Or they tell them who to pick.
Yeah, it's probably, knowing reality shows, it's probably a combination of the two.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
So the second episode, let's get into that. That's another, we were talking about this before, that each of them have themes. This one is meat, or like eating chickens or not eating chickens, essentially.
Right. To kill or not to kill, right?
That's to kill. Yeah, exactly.
Name of the episode.
And honestly, they're really leaning hard in this first episode into these chickens are the most adorable, cute friends they've ever had. Like, it's just showing shots with all the kids petting the chickens and like different, it's been like several days now. So like, that's just footage from all of that time. It's not like one day they all went into the chicken coop and started petting the chickens.
Or they said, hey kids, we're all going to go pet the chickens right now.
Oh, that's even worse. Hey kids, let's go pet the chickens. Also in the book, it says let's murder them.
Yeah, I almost guarantee you they were setting up for that.
I don't know. My humanity hoped that they had several.
There is no humanity in reality,
and they didn't just gather them together, show them that. Although one of the episodes, like they said, was pretty fucked up. The trash episode, you remember? They have to clean up the town. Yeah, we haven't got to that yet, but I'll just bring it up when that happens. Nonetheless, they do shady shit like that.
On a personal note, I actually legitimately struggle with this as a person who eats meat. And I as I was watching that episode, because I didn't know it was coming up, I was literally sitting there eating popcorn chicken. I'm like, oh boy, this isn't good.
Good. And the fact that
I felt terrible, but I kept eating, obviously.
Like, they didn't encourage the protest. That was one thing that like they said that no, that kind of happened on its own. That like the little girl didn't want the chickens. One of the little girls didn't want the chickens to be killed, so she locked the door and locked herself inside and was like,
the only time I've ever seen that girl.
No, she's pretty much just in this episode. I mean,
she comes back later. I think in episode 3 when they're doing, or 4 when they're doing their religion thing. Is like, I'm a Protestant, so I don't really want to be around any Jews.
Oh yeah.
That's the one other time she comes up.
So killing animals, wrong, check. But Jews also, no, thank you.
Holocaust, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you're not.
She's a Holocaust denier.
Well. Go that far.
I'm just saying.
I'm assuming so.
Okay.
I mean,
she's full on a Holocaust
denier. It is kind of funny if you think about that. Someone stood up morally You could argue eating animals and protein is a thing. Maybe we don't need to do it now, but at a time in human history, it was needed. And
They didn't even need to do it. That's the thing is like, I mean, they did because, like I said, all the food's disgusting, so they probably wanted some meat, but like they had enough food to be fine.
I'm just more saying that this girl, like, dude, like eating animals, it's arguable that that's at least like a human nature thing that's as part of the life cycle of humanity versus hating Jews. Like, dude, like
that is a fair point.
It's a weird stance to be taking on, and just my opinion, whatever that.
And not only all this, so Greg steps up. He's like, I'm a butcher. I worked at a butcher's place. I've chopped all this stuff, man. Killed the thing, and watched the light go out of its eyes. And they essentially are like, sorry, little girl, we want chicken.
Okay, and this is why I love Greg, by the way. Greg is a fucking underdog. He's been through some shit. He's fucking I'm 32 years old. I would be crying if I had to cut a chicken's head off.
Right. Dude, that's a great point, dude.
That is true. And he doesn't know, like, he knows what he's doing.
That's what I'm saying.
He can skin those things. Ugh.
That's what I'm saying. He is like,
and they straight show the murder. They straight show that murder.
Yeah. That was pretty vicious.
Like Scott was saying while we were watching it, guaranteed they gathered all the kids and made them watch.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, it's like so many of these people are so they come across as very soft, as very privileged or whatever.
Yep.
Greg is a fucking street rat if I've ever seen him.
Right. No, you're right, dude.
Street rat.
You are right,
and dude. He's poor. The only thing I'll give you about him, like, insisting, because like he found out about that gold star, and his little dick got so hard, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm getting that fucking gold star." So this next episode, he's really been stepping it up and trying to like help out, do the stuff. Like,
man, imagine you're 15 years old. You're the oldest kid on the show. You're here with a bunch of fucking babies. A bunch of 9-year-olds and shit. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna get that star. Absolutely, dude.
Yep.
I'm gonna graduate high school.
And I'm gonna be Mike and say every single week. Because it is funny
how pissed off he keeps getting. I kind of hope you guys already know, but I kind of hope he
leaders hates Greg. Mike hates Greg because the first day he pretty much they got in a stupid little bout, and so for the 4 episodes that we watch, Mike will not allow Greg to get that star.
Everybody else in the council is being like, maybe we should give it to Greg, and he's like, absolutely not.
No,
and by the way, why is one guy fucking holding up all 3 of them? But whatever,
because he's just insistent.
and by the way, I feel like it's not going to happen. But can you ask me? Do they eventually get a situation where they can change? Can they vote a council person out?
Yes. The next episode is the election episode. Yes. So
awesome.
When we go, the 5th episode. So
awesome.
That's one of the better ones for
sure. Bye, Taylor. That's my prediction.
You will see.
And we haven't mentioned him, but Michael wins the 2nd gold star or whatever.
Yes, he does.
He's the 2nd oldest kid. He's 14.
He hates him.
I hate that little cunt.
Doesn't that guy seem like the nicest dude on the fucking show?
I said the same thing. He is fake. There's another kid on the show whose name is Zach, and Scott was right saying that Michael is what Zach wants to, or no, Zach is what Michael wants to be.
Pretends to be.
I will say Zach is a little hard worker. He actually cares. He is good at speeches. He gives a shit, and Michael is just kind of
Michael is just he's a little fake shithead.
Brown,
I hate
that fucking hair, dude. I'll tell you, that hair.
Brown noser.
It's seriously all of his. He got one good speech in, and then every goddamn episode we got to listen to him stand up for everybody and be like, "Well, we have the potential, and we can do anything.
We have the potential to do great." And then he gets the star and goes like, "Well, I didn't know if I had the potential."
Well, really the best thing is that I get to call my parents. Fuck you, I want to slap the shit out of you.
Yeah, you know it's that $20,000. It is that 20,000 grand. You're gonna be flush with cash. You can fucking roll in bed in that money.
I wonder what happened to all that money with these kids in the end. I wonder what really happened to that money in the end with all these kids.
I mean, their parents got it. Like I was saying, I think that their parents got it. Either went in a fund or the parents had a good old vacation.
Yeah. Well, as long as they took the kid, I guess. I mean,
or they didn't. Some of them probably. They put them on this show. I don't think that they're great parents.
Could you imagine some of the younger kids too? You could literally be like, you could spend $500 on them. Be like, oh man, you're gonna go get everything you ever wanted.
Right.
Pocket that other $19,500.
Right.
Everybody's happy.
Right.
Oh my god.
That's what you'd steal your kids' money.
I wouldn't steal my kids' money, but I'm just
It'd
saying.
be easy to do.
You get that little 9-year-old girl wins the star in the third episode. She doesn't know any fucking better. You go get her a 5-pound bag of Skittles and a Barbie, and then you're just like, congrats! Look at what all that money bought you.
No, dude, you're absolutely right. When you're a kid, you have no idea what the value of money is.
You have no concept of what's going on.
No.
At all. So in this is the one where they do they have their challenge after they eat the chicken. Everybody's just loving this chicken, by the way. Everybody
sounds like it tasted great.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, have you ever ate fucking fresh meat, freshly killed meat?
Because 4 days are
no, I actually don't think that
episode is 4 days. So it's 8 days in, and you're just been eating Taylor's fucking grits and like nonsense. Like, yes, I'd like some food, please.
I love too the yellow team, Taylor's team, and Taylor. Like I say before, like if you've not seen this, you're trying to get a little bit of a conception of it. Like Taylor is the one they make into the villain for most of the show.
And Greg a little.
Greg. They turn him around. Greg gets a redemption arc.
A redemption arc because he wants that money.
But like. But with Taylor, she runs the yellow team, which is a team full of little kids, very little kids. They're the youngest team.
It's like the oldest is a 12-year-old, right?
And they're constantly the cooks. They go, the oldest is a 12-year-old. They're constantly cooks, and they don't want to do the dishes, so they stop handing out dishes. They'll take these kids, they'll cook up some potatoes or something, and have them come up and pour it in their hand.
And that's your lunch and dinner, or breakfast and dinner.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, there's your
because they start doing that too. Because Taylor's like, it's not quite breakfast, it's not quite lunch. It's kind of a brunch, you know?
Yeah, it's a brunch situation.
This 9-year-old knowing about brunch.
They're holding their hands out, cupping it while she spoons it in there. Ow, that's hot. What the fuck are you doing? Give us a bowl. Clean the dishes, little girl. Clean the dishes. But
ridiculous.
They did have a problem with the dishes to the point where kids were drinking bleach. So whatever. But that was the producer's fault.
Well,
they were bleaching it.
It was both their faults.
Weren't bleaching it. The adults were bleaching it, and the kids.
If she had washed them, though, if she had fucking washed them.
And this is why I love Taylor, is because she is 10 years old, and she is holding her own in this group full of people as old as 15. Arguing with them, fucking cajoling, fucking making shit up, whatever she's got to do.
I think the funny thing about her to me is, in a human sense of like, when you wonder how, like, when we look around like different leaders around the world, you wonder, how do people who are so incompetent like somehow still hold whole countries that just think they're the best? And you look at her and it's like, dude, I get she's younger, but she's by far, as far as the council, she is the least qualified, least puts anything into it, doesn't put any effort. But really every week so far, even when they ask, like, God, you got problems with the council, like a few people have problems with her, but not everybody. Like,
it's really Sophia's the only one that has like the voice of reason, and she's the only one who actually could speak up. All these other kids don't even want to don't know what to say.
And Taylor's the most charismatic. She's the best talker out of the leaders, even though several of the leaders are quite a bit older than her. Michael,
Laurel's pretty good.
No, okay. Mike looks like he's going to cry every 2 seconds. He's got crybaby face.
He does have
And Jay doesn't really hardly say anything. He's just a quiet, very quiet kid. And then Laurel, but Laurel's also 12, and she also doesn't really take control. She just she comforts people when they're sad.
Yeah, she's very much
Taylor's
so the mother.
10 years old, and she's like, you know what? I'm the boss. I'm running.
But she's also the worst boss you'd ever want or have. She's a little dictator.
Well, no, that's not true. She's the best boss if you're on the yellow team because she doesn't make
because you don't have to do shit.
Yeah,
it's like being in upper class, but not
right.
Yeah, man. So yeah, they have their little challenge, and then yellow team or who wins the okay. So this kind of pissed me off. They set up this prize thing each week. the kids get to choose between either a practical thing that can help them,
right,
or a ridiculously fun or like one-time excursion.
Right,
thing.
right.
Like one's pizza or like one's a TV or one's like cocoa in a microwave or because they have this one in the first episode, like I said, they got porta potties. That was their fucking thing they got. Yeah, one porta potty, 40 kids.
Right.
So ridiculous. And in this one, they show a big slide, like a water slide.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you could get this, but they never show the other prize.
Because they didn't win that one.
Yeah, but they still should have showed them the prize, right? Just
actually, if you think about it, dude, would you want to? Because that was the fun one. If you lost, would you want to know that you could have had the slide or I'm trying to think,
something
an indoor shower or something? I mean,
I agree. It is weird because you, as the viewer, want to know.
Oh, I want to know. Of course, I
yeah,
know.
exactly.
So
at least show us.
that
And got the prize, so like show it.
Yeah.
And by the way, the people who got so mad at them for the pizza over the microwave, I know these are little kids, but get some fucking perspective, little kids, on what life is, and realize that pizza's going to be good for one day. This microwave is going to be good the rest of the 40 days or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So
that's
fucking
very true.
Idiots. Learn a lot.
The only thing I would say is one of the times pick something fun. Like one of the times.
Well, they lost the slide.
Yeah, exactly.
And they could have picked the putt-putt course over the Bibles, which I can't believe they did.
Dude, that was the dumbest move. Because it's like, we and Scott were talking about that there is no way after this episode that any of those kids are reading those books.
So dumb, dude. I have
the chores that they have to do.
I have so much in reality, even if you don't believe in religion, I would have a lot of respect for grown adults that just read different religion books, just trying to see perspectives. But you're not doing that. It was almost like, dude, this was 2007, way kind of before we got to real PC. But like, it was almost like now you would know they'd have to do that. Cause like, oh, we should. And then they'd have a whole segment about making sure everybody that was different religions, but like that, dude, these kids, why they didn't choose putt-putt? And they all chose, it was not going to vote. It wasn't unanimous, but it was pretty obvious that the group wanted.
But it honestly, on that also, either it was the producers or I feel like all those kids are just raising their hands because their parents would be mad if they didn't.
Maybe,
but something along those lines. Like, it has to be something that where they're being pushed in that direction because you as a kid putt like over a bunch of religious books where like
that you're not gonna read. Shut up.
That you're not gonna read.
No. Yeah, you're gonna be fucking sitting there in this old West town like reading the Torah.
Yeah. I know that one guy.
Like, 9 years old.
I forget who said it, but there was somebody in the background that was, hey, pass over the Torah. Give me a shut up. Give me a fucking break. I'd rather
Jared,
be fucking putt-putting it up.
Was that Jared?
Was it Jared?
I don't know. Sounds like
a
Jared move. By the way, fan favorite in my opinion. My favorite character would either be, Jared or Sophia are my two favorite.
Yeah, Jared or Taylor for me. Like
I will say, who's the Irish chick? What's the Irish chick?
Laurel.
I would say for her, I don't know if it was real or not, but I'd give her some points because she in the whole religious episode when they tried to decide whether they were going to have religious services, she was like hardcore for like really learning about other things. And I gotta say, not to be stereotypical, but usually Irish Catholics aren't exactly the most open-minded other religions.
I think a 12-year-old girl is probably a little more open.
Also, people from Boston, typically not the most
not very open people. Yeah,
not really. I love Fenway Park, though. Just going to say that.
So each of the episode, have themes. So like that the one here talking about, we had like we're kind of jumping all over the place.
I know.
Like, that the fourth episode is the one with the religion, and they kind of force this on the kids. They really force it on the kids. They put them in a position where they freaking just have to choose that. And the winners, because we are jumping around, it's not like we're actually getting into it, and that's totally fine. I just wanted to cover the second episode. Michael wins the star. He's a baby. I want to talk to my parents. Blah, blah, blah. That's lame. And then this third episode is the curfew episode.
Oh yeah,
where
shit. We kind of. I'm sorry that we glossed over that kind of.
No, that's fine. And it's just the kids getting buck wild. Everybody's staying up way too late. Like, these are the scenes Eric was talking about where, like, people are dancing on the tables and, like, drinking in the bar like it's an actual bar. Like, they're getting fucking wasted off of soda. Like,
and also, Greg should have used this opportunity to beat up Michael and take his star.
I wonder, that's how it works, man. You still got 40 days.
That's fine.
Just every time he comes around, like, fuck you, Michael.
Yeah, Michael's not doing shit.
No, he's
Greg could beat his ass with one hand tied behind
Michael
his back.
is immediately brown nosing and crybabying to the producers to get that star back.
There's only, by the way, we only get 12 episodes of this. Like with most reality shows, honest to God, like, and the problem is we can't, because we know now how produced reality shows are. But Big Brother was the only one but Big Brother for a while would actually, you could pay and like watch Big Brother at night and shit.
Yep.
What do these kids do all day? Did you look into like really what the day-to-day activities were?
I mean, they're essentially, I mean, they're doing the same shit. Like, their days were pretty much mostly filled with chores or hanging out, or like things like they have in this episode. There was a storm that blew over the thing. So like they're doing that. They're hanging out at the pub. They're hanging out with their friends most of the time. And then the rest of it is probably very, very structured because you have cameras all over the place. And like,
okay.
Yeah. And like, just really quick to talk about how predatory reality shows can get. You brought up Big Brother After Dark. You want to talk about some predatory reality show shit? They had these people stuck in a house and they're just like, you want to fucking see them naked?
Right.
You want to like see a bucket? We have cameras all over the house. You can do that if you just pay the subscription rate.
Again, to Tyler's thing with this one though, and to what you've always been saying, that for one, they are absolutely grown adults. They know the situation, and and dude, you're hooking up with the Big
They probably did not think they were going to make porn out of their reality,
but they would know that in reality there's
they
cameras.
knew they're going to be naked. They knew that. Like,
I don't give them any pass on that. I think
I don't. Yeah, you're a grown adult. If you didn't read that shit, that's your fault.
That's okay to you, but some of the kids came in a fucking helicopter, and that's a problem.
No, that's not.
I actually didn't have a problem with it.
It's just the dynamic that they put the kids in a situation.
The dynamic that you go onto a reality show and they're like, guess what? You're a porn star now.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of are anyway. Like, that's going to be the case. It's glorifying sex and all that shit. Like, what reality television show doesn't do?
There is penetration in Big Brother After Dark.
Of course, because you're paying for that subscription. It's like fucking HBO
They were not
Max.
planning on that. They were not planning on that when they went into this show.
I think they knew.
By the way, real quick,
I think they knew.
We have this footage. We could just make some extra money. Release,
but After Dark, it's essentially like live. It's you going in there and paying a subscription to watch them all the time. It's not like them taking that and like
they did also take those and make porns out of it.
Okay, that's fucked up. That's a separate thing though.
Real quick, by the way, when we've talked, me and Scott, I think both at one point have mentioned how we wanted to be on a reality show. Like I always, back then, and we talked about that a little bit. Honestly,
this is the one I would have wanted been on.
If I when I thought back to reasons for being on the reality show, it was less even about being famous. I don't know if I mentioned this the last time we talked about it, but it was more about that I just was like, I had no ability to get laid. And I was like, oh, if I go on one of these shows, I'll get laid because you'll be on a TV show. Like, like
I mean,
you
absolutely would have.
They all fuck. So I'll just be like, oh, I'll have sex. And that was the only reason I really wanted to be on a reality show.
Even in this show, like Laurel, her first kiss was on this show.
Did they show that? I don't remember that.
I don't think they showed it, but she, in her interview,
who did she kiss?
Blaine.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old are they?
Checks out.
She is 12. He is 14.
I think.
Yeah. Whatever.
No, I mean, all of them are within a very small. If Greg is kissing anybody, it's not cool.
Yeah, Greg can kiss Sophia. She's 14.
Okay, you can kiss Sophia, and that's it.
Okay, so sorry.
The line is crossed. But yeah, they ask questions about people hooking up, and I'm assuming that's just making out because they're kids. And she said a lot of them did.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
The producers knew better than to show that.
Yeah, because it did. I don't remember it like showing relationships.
Never. No, not at all.
Which is probably good that they're not glorifying children relationships.
Yeah,
just
probably.
Any kind of sexual thing with kids. Probably a positive thing.
Yeah. Can we talk about, because I feel like I know you wanted to bring this up, and I feel like we may have passed it.
What?
Colt in the Bull.
Oh, okay. No, Colton the Bull is in the 4th episode, and that's what I was trying. The 3rd episode.
No, it's in the 3rd episode for sure.
Colton the Bull.
Because we watched the 4th episode this morning. We watched Colt.
You're right. So in the 3rd episode, I was saying to him too. You remember when this kid Colt goes to this bull, and like there's this kid.
Yeah.
He's wandering around with some other boys.
Yeah.
And there's animals, like in the contract they said, like wild animals and domesticated ones.
Oh yeah.
And there's bulls and cows. And he runs out into this field and stare down this bull. And not a single fucking cameraman's like, no. Come back.
Why would you?
Anything. Because
you're making
he
a
could
TV
die.
show.
Because
making
he
a
could
TV
die.
show.
They were waiting for it. They were just like, come on, bull, kill him. And then charges him. And I mean, to be fair, the kid's a badass because that bull went running. He stood his ground. And this kid was probably 3 foot nothing.
Okay, first of all, yes, extremely irresponsible. My thing is, like, when I've tried to play out how this could have actually worked, because it is a long shot, it's far away. So I'm like, I think the camera guy didn't want to get that close to the bull.
Yep.
And
because he knew what the safe distance
and there was nobody within a safe distance that could have stopped that bull if it had charged.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, I wonder if they had a guy with a rifle off screen, like, look, that bull gets ready to charge.
Maybe. I bet not, dude. I honestly bet not.
I don't think so. They did have security around the entire perimeter of the thing, they said, to keep out like creepy people. They said they didn't want like creepy people coming in to like mess with the kids and animals. But like still, that they even mentioned that they needed to keep out like creeps from this child town. Like, why is that?
I wonder. I'd have to know where it was located and wonder if it, dude. Some of those desert areas, dude. It might not. It's not even that we would have known there was kids. It's just there's weirdos.
I mean, you want to talk about good TV if they had an episode where a creep sneaks into the house.
Yeah, you have to deal with this intruder. That's what the book says this week. It's time to deal with the intruder.
Form a mob and change.
Form a mob. Today,
in the Old West,
we gotta form a mob. There's a pedophile in here, and we gotta find him.
Well, in the Old West, though, you would have had some, dude come into town and rob the saloon and shit. So I mean,
and somebody did just make a good comment that if there was a guy with a gun off screen, could have hit the kid. So probably not.
Oh, that one, they wouldn't care about that. I mean, if they had the guy with the, they don't.
They didn't have a guy with a gun waiting for that. That was a thing where they hoped that it. Honestly, I think they hoped that that kid died.
Absolutely not.
No,
Absolutely
I don't.
You don't think that? No. They signed the waivers.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Show's getting immediately shut down.
Those waivers, by the way, honestly, those waivers are. If you ever really look into them, they're not really as strong as they like you to think they are. It's just like when you go to like Cedar Point or theme parks and stuff, and they say, "Hey, any if you get hurt on this ride in any capacity, we're not responsible." It's like technically true, but they're gonna get fucking sued. Those contracts, honestly, I don't think hold up as you know what I'm saying, Scott. Like I don't think they actually hold up.
There's a line with reality share. If a certain line gets crossed, the production company jumps ship, the channel jumps ship, and they're all just like, "Nope, this is over now."
So they wouldn't want to have that happen.
They want that kid to get.
They are
injured.
Absolutely not helping that kid. I don't think there's a person off screen with a gun or any of that. There was one cameraman who wandered off with these boys and caught something magical. Don't get me wrong, but could have gone so wrong.
No, you see, this is where, if I had to guess, I think there's absolutely producers and handlers there. I think they were like, let's get these kids messing with these animals. I think they encourage them to go out there.
The bull is an insane thing to have you do with a child.
Well, but they wouldn't have encouraged it. What Scott's saying is the thing you got to remember: they're little kids, and he's a guy who's just starting to probably get some kind of testosterone and shit. So they're just going to encourage little things and kind of suggestions, like Scott's saying, and kind of hope though that the kid on his own says, "Yeah, I'm going to go out and try to wrangle up snakes or something or whatever."
yeah,
I get that, but it's just like it seems so incompetent and dangerous to have that happen. and
welcome
not
to
say
entertainment.
anything to him. Yes. I mean, it makes sense why this thing got shut down.
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, that is a legitimately shocking moment where, as an adult watching it, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Who okayed this?
Yeah, for real.
Literally, you have a 10-year-old doing a jackass stunt.
Right.
Like,
Like,
'cause
yeah.
they've done that with Steve-O in Bulls, Johnny
Right.
Knoxville in Bulls.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And it went well for them, by the way. So
Not
Right.
super great. I was just gonna say Mallory, the little girl, the youngest girl, wins the star this week, which really pisses off fucking Greg for the second week
my
in a
God,
row.
he couldn't hate it
He
more.
is very angry about this. He's such a he's like, she only got it. They literally film him in this barn in a way where he straight looks like a villain.
Yeah, the
He was
shadows.
like,
I know, dude.
he was
getting
like
was like-
face,
contemplating like this little girl's death. And just being like,
dude, it was honestly
she's
like
the next one I'm gonna rob.
it was honestly like a WWE promo to me.
Yeah.
Like, it was like seriously
Yeah,
like
it really
him sitting there being like, just like getting ready for a pay-per-view fight. And he's like hyping up
we'll see
why he
next
doesn't-
week who's
Right.
got that star.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
dude,
not you,
what a-
Greg. It's
What a
not you.
motherfucker. I get it. I'm not saying that she should win it because it's her birthday, but you do realize this is where
Yeah, there's some
humanity, dude.
whack
Even
shit.
when they're kids, even if they have people in the ears, I always say this, like with some of that stuff, even if you have people in your ears, you're still human beings. It's like, dude, you
Yeah.
can't just be okay with this girl getting it. Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
And she is a store runner, by the way.
Well,
At
you know
fucking
what?
like 8. She's running the store. She's not like doing.
No,
Man.
and she's not doing she's just a little girl. They keep they're like, hey, say something right now. Like, it's not even like she's helping it. It's just her
Yeah.
birthday.
She didn't deserve it. I'm on Team Greg with this. Like,
Yeah.
he's
I'm not on full on Team Greg, him being like, fuck her. But like, I think that like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have given her a star.
yeah, like imagine this. You're Greg and you're like, you know what, man? I'm just gonna do everything I can to
I
get
mean, they
this
got
star.
12
I'm
weeks.
gonna.
They're gonna get.
I
12
don't
people.
care. I'm fucking stressed out about it.
I
till
wonder
it
if they're allowed
happens.
to. Do they say, are they allowed to get it twice? I mean, why wouldn't they be, right?
You can.
I don't believe anybody does get it twice.
Yes, I think at the end. 'Cause
Really?
At the end, they have 3 stars that are worth 50 each.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is there anybody who gets 2 stars?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. In that last episode.
Okay, fair enough.
That's
fair
what I'm saying. Okay, so for that, we already pretty much covered all the religious stuff in the 4th episode. That was the theme, religious stuff. They picked
By far, by the way.
books.
Oh, sorry.
No, what?
By far that episode, I haven't seen any of the others, so you guys have seen this before the whole way through.
Yeah.
By far, and I've been religious in my. I don't have a thing. I'm not one of these people that hates on religion.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest episode of
Yeah.
almost anything I've ever seen ever on a reality show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because
No.
you do have to, in that sense, you do have to say these are kids, and like.
Yep.
I don't care. Like Scott, I'm not saying from an episode, like again from a reality. I get it, but
Yeah, you're
even from a
proud of it.
reality show aspect where you're trying to create this drama, it was such like I just in that frame, the producers, even when you're trying to do that, I don't get that one, to be honest with you. I think
No.
there's so much more you could do. It's so off the wall.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
really
fit in
is.
any capacity.
No,
Like, and there's a
absolutely
lot
is.
you could do with kids that would still be. I mean, I just don't get it. Honestly.
I mean, the
it's a-
thing is, if you're separating building a society episodes, you have to religion.
okay.
It's
Yep, that's
too
fair.
big
That's
of
true.
a thing. You know what I mean? And they do get there's a lot of great, pretty hilarious quotes. I agree with you. It's off the wall, but it's off the wall in a good way. Where I'm like, you got the weird, eccentric kid Jared talking about like everybody else is arguing. I'm just gonna go meditate. He's like,
Yeah.
meditating.
Or
You got
believe
that-
Jay
You
freaking
got
do-
that little fat Protestant girl just
hating on the
being
Jews.
anti-Semitic.
By the way,
Just straight being
oh,
anti-Semitic.
by the way, I'm glad that Scott's the one who called her fat because I was gonna earlier and I held back based on my past episode.
No, she's fat. She's a bad little girl. and it's not just her. A lot of people are being like, I don't understand these Jews.
Okay, that was one thing I felt about is
Very
Judaism
absurd.
takes up such a large amount of the conversation. I'm like, they must. The producers must have been asking these kids about what their opinions on the Jews and Judaism. There's no other way it would be brought up so
No,
much.
they keep pushing it. They kept
It
pushing
is very odd. And you're right. And for the kids of these age in this situation, I've never honestly, not that I don't sit around and talk religion too much with my friends for the most part, but like I've never seen such a group of like a young kids. I know they're on TV. I know they're being coached.
And having no clue and just being very anti-Semitic and kind of like on the verge of racist, most of it.
And the producers are pushing it because I mean, like I said, there's 3 or 4 conversations about Judaism.
I know.
At some point. And it's like, they're what, like 2% of the population?
Right.
Like it makes no sense.
They were a little bigger back in 1930, but whatever. But
oh God. At least we're not Holocaust deniers. We full on believe in it. Apparently we are pro making fun of it. I think it's still too soon though.
Okay. I'll give it 10 more years and we'll try.
Yeah, that little 10-year-old girl was 10. What's your excuse, eh?
I'm just an asshole.
Full-grown man.
I'm just an asshole.
Full-grown man.
I'm just an asshole who likes to say something that even if it's wrong, I know. See, I just Billy Bush you guys again, dude. Like that's you should not have laughed at that at all. You should be taking me behind the woodshed and beating me up right now.
No, it's pretty funny. I mean,
we're having a long post-podcast conversation.
Yeah. We're going to have a conversation where we're cutting someone out. We don't know who.
Oh, we don't know who. Crazy.
We did just decide though.
I've never though, for real though. I can't understand that. It's so bizarre to me that there's so much anti-Semitism.
Yeah, it's just like, man, like calm down, kids.
Yeah,
like, it's not that
weird.
And honestly, like, why are you even having these kids address it? They don't know what I mean, it's entertaining. We're talking about it.
Right.
So there's definitely a reason why
like 20 years later almost.
Yeah.
15 years maybe.
Fucking what's her name? Oh, yeah. Anjay says this crazy shit that I don't think is true, but he says 830 million. They have 830 million gods in Hinduism. And I was like, I don't know.
They believe in 830 million spirits. I believe him.
I thought he said gods.
Maybe it was gods. Either way, I have a passing knowledge of Hinduism. I don't know about that, but it's a very specific number. I bet you look it up.
I just wondered. I didn't look it up. I probably should have because I'm hosting. But like, I'm sorry. Like, it just seemed absurd to me that he said that. So it might be.
By the way,
case.
Scott, do you believe that kid actually was already into meditation and being a person who meditates yourself pretty seriously? Or do you think somehow
Ajay or Jared?
Whatever the kid was like, I need to go, meditate.
Jared is absolutely meditating.
My thing with Jared is he is so eccentric for his age constantly, every time they show him. So it's totally possible. He's got to have some parents who are into some
weird stuff,
more fringe.
Gotcha.
For sure.
By the way,
also, totally, they could have been like, "Hey, let's go. Let's get a shot of the weird kid meditating."
Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me at all either.
By the way, it certainly could be wrong, but it came up pretty fast. It looks like there's 33 million Hindu.
Oh, 33 million. Okay,
that makes, again, I'm sure there could be.
I mean, that's insane. That's
I'll give or take a little bit. I'm sure there could be, if you're really into it, maybe you believe in more. I don't know, but roughly in that area.
He said 330 million, right?
Well, that motherfucker got a 0 wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say just off.
Back to the
said
fucking Buddha.
30 million.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's way wrong.
No, yeah, he's way wrong.
Yeah.
I wish someone had called him. Wouldn't have been awesome if someone called him on that.
Yeah,
they knew it and they knew
it. Could you name them all?
It would have been Jared.
Yeah, Jared would have been. He'd be like, "No, I'll sit here and wait. Tell me every name that they have." So yeah, let's do some final thoughts on the first 4 episodes of Kid Nation and how you kind of feel about it.
I think that it is a very irresponsible, insane reality show, but I am happy that it was filmed and that it exists. I would put those kids through it again if it meant I could watch it.
let's have a reunion show.
Actually, we're totally cool with doing it. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, and then actually, I guess my final thought would be when we talk about reality shows and all this, you can talk about the predatory nature, you can talk about all the fucked up stuff. All of that is true. I'd still do it, and I know that there's a decent amount of people. You will get a variety of responses when it comes to people who have been on reality shows. A good percentage of them are happy they did it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and honestly, now unfortunately with these kids, even with them being kids, though, dude, looking at it back now,
Put them through hell, but it's benefit.
But
it's
in their mind, you never know if it gets. Unfortunately, Hollywood and all that stuff, it's all about connections. It's all about any. So now I don't know that it doesn't seem like that Taylor chick went on to anything as far as I can tell.
She's like an influencer online. She does
really?
physical therapy and stuff too.
Seriously?
We'll check out.
Yeah. So see, I bet even that probably started stemming from this fucking show. I mean,
yeah,
there just are a lot. There, as much as people say there's people that don't.
It's a leg up no matter what.
Yeah, so, that's what I'm saying. You go through a couple of difficult weeks.
I would say this is a better leg up than doing a reality show as an adult.
No, worse leg up.
No, your lifestyle can be completely ruined by that. I don't think it can be by this show.
No, the problem is
you get addicted to drugs. You go you're just a fucking STDs.
That's on you. That's on you at that point.
I think that it's also encouraged by the producers.
No, the producers don't have anything to do with you really once you're out of that.
When you're in it, though, but it's encouraging that lifestyle, and then you leave it, and then that's not their fault anymore. No, that they put you in that situation.
No, it's not their fault. If you get addicted to cocaine at clubs after the fact.
They don't come back to that club.
During the fact, because that's the lifestyle you're in, and then you go on to continue that.
No, they're not doing illegal drugs on reality shows.
They're doing illegal drugs on reality shows. No,
that's a liability issue. Absolutely not. They're just drinking drugs. And maybe smoking weed if it's legal.
Drinking excessively, but that's it.
Yeah. No way. You don't have any connections. Like you're not bringing drugs into it. And then on top of that, the production is absolutely not supplying. I have never seen a reality show where they were doing drugs.
They never show it, but it's happening, I feel like. Definitely.
No.
I mean, they might maybe
doing drugs
if they sneak out.
I would be willing to bet good money they don't do drugs on reality shows, and that's actually a huge liability issue.
It doesn't matter if it's a liability issue. I think, it is illegal, but they're still doing it, just like we do drugs and you're not supposed to. Like, it's the same.
Yeah,
to Scott's point, I think that maybe like at the Jersey Shore, for example, I mean, you can't say that some of them wouldn't have gone into the bathroom and done some lines or something.
Sure, but something like that, yes.
But they wouldn't have sat there and let them sit in front of them and
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying on air. I'm saying they're doing drugs.
I'm saying not in a contained reality show. Not Flavor of Love, not The Bachelor.
Full on. Not The Bachelor, but like Flavor of Love.
Those environments are totally controlled.
I still think that they absolutely are doing drugs.
How?
Well, either way.
They're going to the bathroom. They're freaking have friends come.
Not in those other shows, though, dude. Not in the one Scott's talking about. In the one Scott's talking about, dude, they have fucking
The Bachelor. But
not those. I've never heard of one time in any of those Flavor of Love.
Any of the. What about what is it? Like Flavor of Love or Rock of Love?
No, absolutely not.
And they're not doing coke.
No.
Why? Why would you assert that? Like, why do you think?
One, because I'm actually very fascinated by those shows. Never once heard that. Okay. Not once ever.
All right.
Second of all, it is a self-contained environment.
Yeah, they're like in a.
Where there is actual liability issues. They're not going to let you do that. They're not going to. But so I guess we got way off track. But the point I was making is, for sure, some of those kids, I guarantee you, are working normal jobs now. Because you were a kid when you were on the reality show.
Absolutely.
If you are an adult, it is a more
then
of a leg
up.
Dude. No adult who's been on a reality show is working a fucking regular job.
Or if they get fucking hounded. They get hounded by those fucking, paparazzi reports where it's like 10 stars you knew now are working Starbucks or something.
McDonald's or something. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. I'm just saying that it wouldn't affect your lifestyle as much as it would as an adult. I still think it would put you in a worse position if you were an adult going in that situation. I think people that are doing that shit are seedy assholes. And that's what it encourages that mentality. And I think that's bad stuff.
Yeah, I guess we were coming at it from two different angles, because what I'm saying is like your career and your finances, all of that are going to be massively improved by doing a reality show. And
if you're good on it, by the way, good, and I say good by good, I mean memorable. I don't mean
if your face is on TV. I mean that's already going to improve it. But you're saying that the lifestyle that comes with that.
Yeah,
is very
you're a worse
shitty.
person. I think that most of those kids are not worse people because they were on Kid Nation.
Maybe.
I think pretty much every single person that's on a reality show is a worse person because of the reality show.
My opinion would probably be, dude, it's for the most part is that people are who they are, and maybe it brought something out of them, but I don't.
I feel like it really pushes you in the most extremely negative way you possibly could be pushed.
Again, it just depends on what reality. Again, it depends on what reality.
Like Scott was saying, like they're extremely predatory. They're pushing you into extreme situations. You're getting into fist fights. You're fucking like getting hammered beyond belief, like blackout drunk. Like those are not good things to be doing in your regular life.
No,
and these kids are drinking soda, but they're not like it was a fucked up experience that mostly put them in a better position in life, and a lot of reality stars, I feel like, go down a dark path because that can lead to that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
As far as me, any final thoughts on these first 4 episodes, I would say that, it's funny. I've gotten off because I don't watch reality shows at all anymore for the most part because I just don't watch regular TV. I watch a lot of other different types of things. But it did remind me of the time when I used to love reality television. And I used to just get into it. Even knowing it was fake, you get into these people and
where you're yelling at the screen
and stuff. And stuff. So it's like it was fun to watch it again. And I can't believe I missed this one. I have no idea what I was doing.
I'm surprised you hadn't seen it. I swear. I mean, we've talked to you about it before. I swear.
Yeah, you did, but I had never really seen it. I saw that it was on in 2007. And so in my head, I know what I was doing in 2007. And it shocks me based on where I was in 2007. I would have been.
The fact is that you and I watched it, Tyler, because our friend group around the time watched it. But if you actually go back to that time, I'm sure like it was already like there were already issues with it, and it was already canceled by the time it premiered. So like it did get kind of buried. It
had issues when it came out, when it's just
before it came out,
because they were already suing the company.
Yeah, they were already like there's several lawsuits involved with the show. It is over.
Yeah,
wow, I'm shocked it even aired in that.
And they threw it. Yeah, I think they threw it on like a Friday night or something like that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like it was already buried before it started. Our specific friend group just happened.
How though? I don't remember I remember you got me into it.
Yeah, it was me.
Curtis?
It was me. Yeah, I got Curtis into it too. Yeah.
Fair enough. How'd you know about it? How'd you find out about it?
I knew about the lawsuits and I wanted to watch it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So yeah, and my final thought is this: pretty much the same as your guys's. This show's insane, but I'm so happy it exists because it is my favorite reality television show. Just because it's just such a wacky, crazy thing, and it doesn't. I don't know. I love all the characters. I feel very connected to all these kids because like they really make them their own little people. And like, I just love the way they do that, but also learning about the horrid conditions these kids were in. It's just like, man, that does sap some of the joy I get out of it a little bit just because I empathize with them, but it's still freaking entertaining as hell. And I'll watch it every week. I wish they had more of it.
That's the American way.
Yeah. I wish there was another seasons. Bring back Kid Nation.
This is terrible. This is honest to God. This is just terribly destructive towards these kids. They're put in terrible conditions. I have empathy. I wish there was more, though. I wish there was a few more.
Exactly. They are. I am excited. They are bringing back Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I saw that today, just on Facebook. I happened to see that.
It's gonna be amazing.
I should audition for that because now I have an iPhone. If you remember, the only reason I didn't want to do things back in the day was you had to. I was still at a time where I would have to get like a camcorder, and someone would have to film it for me. I can just have my iPhone up. I should look into it.
Let's commit to if you can do it through your phone, we'll all audition for Legends of the
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's straight up do it. Okay,
maybe that can be an episode in the future. We'll talk about our
okay, so we're doing a little something different this week. Eric is going to be gone next week, so we are going to have a show live on Friday this week. Scott will be hosting, and then we will post that episode on iTunes on Wednesday just to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
But the live will still go on Friday, and then we will skip next week and be back the next one after that with Eric.
Yep. So if you listen to the podcast, it'll be exactly the same. If you watch on Facebook Live, we'll be back in 2 days.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
yeah, what are you doing for your teaser?
Yeah.
For 2 days.
and this will probably be the next couple of weeks going forward for me on my shows. I'm gonna do a Jeffrey Epstein thing.
Who killed himself, right?
What'd you say?
The famous guy who killed himself.
1,000% no. Not a single person believes that. It's more likely that fucking Nicole Brown Simpson killed herself. Like, but yeah, I'm excited for it. It's been a thing I've been interested in for a long time. It's one of those windows, like I was talking about. Just as a little teaser for the Epstein thing, I would argue that it is more of a window into how the world is run and a window into what the powerful do than maybe anything else that's happened in our life.
You know what? I don't know nearly as much about it as you, but I could understand already though with my basic knowledge of this. I can understand what you're saying, and I can get where you come from on that.
Closest other thing would be like maybe the WikiLeaks dumps in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, I mean, we'll get into it, but so many wild stories, so many insane connections. Yep.
Okay.
But we'll be back in 2 days.
Yeah. So, check us out. Thank you for checking out the Two Hippies, One Drunk podcast. Check us out like he said in 2 days, and have a good
right to CBS.
evening.
Bring back Kid Nation.
Bring back Kid Nation, please. I want more kids to suffer.